In today's video, we're going to be covering the evolution of Nuketown by covering these 9 maps that you see on your screen with their individual Easter eggs. If you enjoy the video, please do me a favor, hit that like button, and if you're brand new around here, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. We're going to go ahead and start with the origin of Nuketown, and that starts with Call of Duty Black Ops. So it all started with David Vonderhaar emailing Adam Hoggett, which is a senior level designer for Treyarch. And in that email, he asked if they could set up a small map based on these nuclear testing towns they used to set up when they would test nukes. So after Adam Hoggett finished that up, he went ahead and took it into the team, and they were really apprehensive about it because it was a pretty small map, a little bit different than all the other maps they had in the original game. And as we'll see by the end of it, it has been a very popular map that has been used several times. So one of the cool things about Call of Duty is you can pretty much go back to any version of Call of Duty and you're going to be able to find a lobby. So that's what you're seeing in the gameplay now. So obviously, since this was the very first Nuketown, they didn't stray off too much from those nuclear testing towns, and pretty much those were just the 1950s themed suburbs with mannequins all around a couple of different houses. So like I said, we're going to go ahead and talk about several different Easter eggs that are hidden around the map. Some are a little bit more obvious than others, and some you may have never experienced, and some that only have become Easter eggs because they continue to carry on those trends within the future Call of Duty titles. The first one we'll go ahead and talk about is the chimney nade. Right here you can see I throw the grenade in and then it ends up dropping down the chimney, it slides out, and it blows up on the floor. So when I originally played Call of Duty Black Ops, I never knew about this nade spot. I never got killed by that nade spot, at least not that I can recall, so this one was definitely new for me when I was doing research for this video. Next up is actually the RCXD track. A lot of people didn't know that this hole in the wall was for the RCXD, and as you can see, they have a double rainbow as we come around the corner. You can actually drive it all the way around. It kind of does take a little bit of a while, and I think early on in development, this was actually supposed to be a flank route, which I'm going to go ahead and show you right here.
We tried having a flank path around behind where the pink house is. What happens if we try this? So we tried it and it was terrible.
So I would kind of infer that the RCXD track was not their initial intention. It looked like it definitely was going to be a flank route, but since it was going to be terrible, they ended up reusing that area that they had already designed for something a little bit more unique and creative. A very iconic part of Nuketown is the Welcome to Nuketown sign that actually displays the population or the number of players on the given map. Also, just outside the map behind the Nuketown sign, you can actually see this tower with a big old clock on it. And this clock actually has a specific name. It's called the Doomsday Clock, and that's exactly how it sounds. And the time is told in minutes to midnight. And the real life clock is actually regulated by a non-profit group of scientists that pretty much move the needle yearly based off how the previous year went. So if they think we're closer to catastrophe, they move it closer to midnight, and obviously they'd move it backwards if it was the opposite. So another little Easter egg is this Latchkey Road and Trinity Ave at the edge of the map. We'll see these appear later on as well, and the Trinity is in reference to the first ever atomic bomb test in 1945 as part of the Manhattan Project. And Latchkey is actually a reference to a series of 38 nuclear tests that were done in Nevada. So there's actually a total of 6 different mailboxes on the map, and the first 2 are usually pretty obvious. They're in front of each house. There's Masons and Woods. Obviously storyline characters that are pretty prominent in the game. And with 4 other mailboxes, the developers got a little bit creative and they put their own names on the mailboxes. So you're going to go ahead and see Hammond, O'Brien, Reinzel, and Hoggett. And as we talked about earlier on, we had Adam Hoggett as a senior level designer. The next Easter egg is actually a little bit zombies related. If you go into one of the houses, there's actually a bookshelf, and on several of the books it reads Edward Richtofen with DG2 and DG3, which are actually 2 different versions of the Wunderwaffe weapon. In the same room, there's actually this manila folder that reads Demir got row. And at first this doesn't look like anything special, but we're going to go ahead and see this same manila folder in a later Nuketown map. And the funny thing is, this same folder can actually be found in the Project Nova mission where you play as Reznov. Now to the most prominent Easter egg on every single Nuketown map, and that is the mannequin Easter egg. And for this map, it's pretty much impossible to do unless you're in a full like 5-6 person party, because you have to shoot the heads off all of the mannequins in under 30 seconds. And if you're able to do that, they'll play Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. So now as we switch into Black Ops 2, they went ahead and changed up the map a little bit, but they still wanted it to feel like Nuketown. So it got kind of a futuristic facelift to the year 2025, or at least what we thought the year 2025 would look like. So we end up seeing this exact same chimney mechanic where you're able to throw it in, it falls down, and it'll actually deal damage. And since they pretty much wanted to keep everything as is, they still kept the RCXD route on the outside of the map. And you'll see instead of having those rock formations to serve as a ramp, they literally put in a ramp so you can go ahead and do this. But again, I don't think this was used very often, because by the time you would actually navigate the RCXD all the way across the map, you were likely to get killed in spawn. And as we'll see with the Nuketown sign, they decided to style it up quite a bit. They added this big O TV on there that we're going to see is later used for that mannequin Easter egg. And if you look in the background, you can see that Doomsday Clock is completely gone. And for whatever reason, they also decided to remove the Trinity and Latchkey street signs. So we'll go ahead and move on to the mailboxes. And for whatever reason, they went from 6 mailboxes down to 4. And in front of the 2 houses, we still have Mason and Woods. And with the 2 mailboxes just outside the map, we have Mason Firth and Adam Hoggett. Again, both level designers. And just like the BO1-Nuketown, we see the same Richtofen book inside Mason's house right here. Again, the exact identical book. And as you can see on one of the desks, we get that same manila folder that says Demir Gotro. So the cool thing about this particular mannequin Easter egg is that it could actually be done solo. They gave you 90 seconds instead of 30, and you wouldn't get any sound indicator, but if you went up to the Nuketown sign, it would say hold to play. Then you'd actually have an opportunity to play 4 classic Activision games. And those games were Hero, Kaboom, Pitfall, and River Raid. And that's gonna go ahead and bring us to Black Ops 2 Nuketown Zombies Easter eggs, and there's pretty much only 2 Easter eggs that we need to talk about. So throughout the rounds, if you end up going near the greenhouse, you'll hear a TV with Richtofen's voice, and the audio's from the moon map when he ends up taking over Samantha's position. And the one that ties in with this is that basically at round 25, Richtofen will be the new announcer in control of the zombies, and all the zombies' eyes will turn blue, which can be heard and seen right here. So that's the audio, and then now when you actually look at the zombies' eyes, you'll be able to see them lit up in this blue color. Another Easter egg is related to 3 teddy bears that can be found around the map. The first one's behind this fence, the second one is on the school bus, and the third one is on the top bunk of the bunk beds in the second story. And if you happen to see all 3 of the teddy bears in one game, you'll end up hearing some kind of special song. And that's going to go ahead and bring us to Nuke House from Black Ops Declassified that was originally on the PlayStation Vita. And even though this wasn't made by Treyarch, I thought I'd include it because it pretty much looks exactly like Nuketown. The only difference is they chopped the map in half. So pretty much where you end up running into the bus is where the map ends. And that's pretty much it. And it's technically the only quote-unquote Nuketown to not actually have a Nuketown sign. That's going to go ahead and bring us over to Black Ops 3. And Black Ops 3, they went ahead and changed the map up quite a bit. And the main reason for that is they had to adapt the map to the advanced movement, which was the first time you could actually use advanced movement on a Nuketown map. They had to make it a little bit larger because obviously with the advanced movement, you're going to be able to go from point A to point B that much faster. In addition to that, they also added a wall run area on top of the B flag. So like a lot of the other maps, we're going to go ahead and start off with the chimney area. There is actually a location where you could throw a nade, but the likelihood of actually making it into the chimney is so remote, I didn't even attempt to make it happen. But you can see that the areas connect. It goes straight down, and then when you look up, you can see it's kind of the exact same area. Also, for whatever reason, they decided to remove the RCXD track, so you can see right here, there are not areas to actually exit the map. And they further reduced the mailboxes from 4 down to 2, and we're left with Hendrik with Corvus on the opposite end, and these are both characters from the campaign of Black Ops 3. There weren't any street signs on this one either, but they did include the previous Nuketowns. If you jump in the trailer, you'll see this sign, which lists all 3 of the different Nuketowns, including this particular one. And as we come out of the trailer, you can see a futuristic Nuketown sign, and behind it, we do not see the Doomsday Clock. And as we head upstairs and we look into the bookshelf, you can see that they pay homage to the original Nuketown sign. And as we make our way into the opposite building, you can see that they have the mannequins from Black Ops 2. And as we turn around, we can also see that Nuketown 25 futuristic car. And that's going to bring us to the mannequin Easter egg that's a part of this particular Nuketown map. And there's actually 2 different Easter eggs. So how the first one works is you have to shoot the heads off all the mannequins in under 2 minutes. You'll know you did correctly once all the mannequins disappear and you hear the bells go off like this. And then at that point, a bunch of mannequins start spawning in and they pretty much just behave like zombies. And that brings us to the second version of this particular Easter egg challenge, and you have to shoot the arms and head off of all the mannequins in under the 2-minute time limit. You'll hear that same bell go off, but this time the zombies behave a little bit different. And this is often referred to as the Weeping Angels version from Doctor Who. And how this works is the zombies only move when you're not looking at them. And at first glance, it's a little difficult to see what's going on, but once you jump into theater mode, it makes the mechanic very easy to see. So I thought it was pretty cool that they actually had 2 versions of this, and we're going to go ahead and see this repeat again once we get to Alpha Omega. So now it's time to get into Black Ops 4, and the first thing we'll go ahead and talk about is the chimney nade spot. And just like Black Ops 1 and 2, it works the exact same. You throw the nade, it falls down the chimney and falls out the fireplace. They also brought back the RCXD path. In case you guys didn't know, you can actually go through this little side vent or whatever you want to call it. It actually goes down. You can actually see the nuke if you look to the right, which I'm going to show you a different angle as we go through this. And then you come out the other side. The path is a little bit longer and it doesn't have a ramp, but it still allows you to work your way around the map in case you want to go ahead and get somebody in one of the buildings. So when you go into theater mode, you can actually get a better look at the map. It can actually let you go through it and you can actually see the nuke within the silo. And then you could see the path that the RCXD car takes across the front side that we're looking at right here. And pretty much it gives you this vantage point. You can kind of see what's going on. You can see kind of how it connects to that particular path. They also have the mailboxes. In this first one right here, it just says mail in Russian and then it says Reznov. And the opposite house has a sign that says Petrenko. They also went ahead and brought back the street signs, but instead of saying Trinity and Latchkey, they say Station and Underground. And then we also have this Nuketown sign matching that Russian winter theme. We can also find another Easter egg on the Blackout 4 themed shoes made by Supra. And if you look closely at the inside of the heel, you'll see the GPS coordinates. After plugging those into Google Maps, you can actually see this links to Chernobyl, Ukraine, which is also coincidentally the location for the worst nuclear disaster in history. So just based off connecting the dots, it seems like this is the actual location of Nuketown within Black Ops 4. And now that's going to go ahead and bring us to the mannequin Easter egg for this map. And this is one of the easier mannequin Easter eggs to do, not because it's any different from the ones we talked about. You still have a 2-minute time limit to shoot the heads off all the mannequins, but if you're looking to make it as easy as possible, you can make it so you get unlimited grab slam, and that'll pretty much knock off all the limbs and the head off the mannequins. Unfortunately with this one, there is only one Easter egg, so if you just go around and shoot all the heads off, or you decide to shoot all the arms and the heads off, the Easter egg will be the same. And you'll know you completed it once you start hearing the guy speak Russian over the loudspeaker. And after he talks for quite a bit, the floor ends up opening up and you can see the rocket launch into the sky. Once it actually hits the sky, it kind of opens up a portal or a rift. And just a heads up, if you happen to be standing in the middle when these doors open, it will insta-kill you and then you'll have to respawn back in. But that won't affect the actual Easter egg. So what you're going to see is once that portal opens up, mannequins start raining from the sky. And once they land on the ground, they start to behave a lot like the zombies we saw in the previous Easter egg. And that's going to go ahead and transition us to Nuketown Island. And obviously they had to expand on a little bit because it is a battle royale. But if we had to compare it to one of the other Nuketown maps, it basically looks like a daytime version of Black Ops 2 Nuketown Zombies. It does have the Nuketown sign, which we'll see in a bit. It doesn't really render properly, but when you do see it, it does have the accurate number of players that are still alive on the island, regardless if they are on the top level or they are underground. And just like that Zombies version, they do have the Doomsday Clock broken over, kind of like it's been destroyed. So we'll go ahead and see that as well. So here's an overhead view of the map. You can see how it kind of lays out. You can see the Doomsday Clock, as well as a lot of the other components that we associate with Nuketown. But it's not until you go downstairs that you really start getting into the Easter egg. And the few that we'll find down here are actually zombies related. This first one we'll see is a painting of Dorizen Drak Wolf King. And then we also have some drawings that look like they could be from Samantha. If you go into the diner, you can actually hear the diner music right here. And as we go into the bedroom area, you can see a few different teddy bears on the bunk beds, on the different chairs in the area. So if you kind of look through, they're relatively easy to spot. And now it's time to jump into Alpha Omega. And right here, you can see there's a mailbox with just a simple B on there, nothing special. And as we go to the other house, there's another mailbox with the letter A. We also get a pretty clean shot of that Nuketown sign as well as the doomsday clock in the background. They even decided to throw in the original Trinity and Latchkey street signs. So in addition to that, there's actually 4 different Easter eggs on this map. The first one we'll start off with is the song Easter egg. And this one's pretty similar to the teddy bear one. Pretty much you find 3 mannequin heads and it will play a song. And the song it will play is I Am the Well by Clark S. Nova. The next 2 Easter eggs are actually mannequin Easter eggs. And how the first one works is if you're able to shoot the heads off 30 mannequins scattered around the map, it will activate the actual Easter egg. And this will pretty much activate a wave of super mannequin zombies, which once killed will give you a bonus perk. There is one variation to this, is instead of shooting the heads, you actually melee the heads off. Only one mannequin that behaves exactly like those Weeping Angels mannequins from Black Ops 3 will spawn in. Except this time around, he's pretty much invincible, and the only way to get rid of him is to reunite him with his spouse. Once you complete that, he'll give you a bonus perk. Then there's the main Easter egg, which is about 20 different steps, and once you completed all the steps, you'll retrieve the elemental shard, which activates the final cutscene, which also is an achievement or a trophy depending on what platform you're on. You get electromagnetic awakening. And that's going to bring us to the newest version of Nuketown, Nuketown 2, which is part of CoD Mobile, a free-to-play game. Right here you can see we get the doomsday clock. So it looks like they carried over the Richtofen books. If you look at these ones, they still say DG2, DG3, even though it's very difficult to read. We can also get a clean look at the Nuketown sign, and for whatever reason they decided not to include the mailboxes or the street signs. And as we come around the Jeep side, they actually swapped out the Jeep for a truck. And if you look at the fence, you can see the hole where the RCXD car was going through is completely removed. And if you look in the sky, there is no longer a double rainbow. One of the coolest things about this particular Nuketown, it is the only version of Nuketown where you can actually drop a tactical nuke. And even though I wasn't successful in my attempt, I still think you're able to throw a nade in the chimney and it'll actually fall down through the fireplace. And as I make my way upstairs, we end up seeing the same manila folder that we've seen a couple times, but this one is blank. I don't know if that's more of a graphical issue because it is a mobile game. So we're able to cover 9 different Nuketowns and their various Easter eggs. If you enjoyed the video in any way, please do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're brand new to the channel, you'd like to find your way back for more Call of Duty content, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. Do appreciate all the support. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.